chosen one. The moment you almost quit was the exact moment you qualified. Every person who reaches a level of impact that actually matters hits a wall so brutal that walking away seems like the only logical choice. That wall you hit recently, the one that made you question everything you believed about your purpose, your calling, your future, that wasn't the end of your story. That was the final exam. And the fact that you are still here, still standing, still breathing, still believing even when belief feels foolish, that is your passing grade. Most people never reach this breaking point because they quit long before the real test arrives. They tap out during the warm-up. They walk away during the preliminary rounds. But you stayed in the ring even when every punch landed, even when your vision blurred, even when staying down seemed smarter than getting back up. That persistence through pain wasn't stubbornness. It was strength being forged in real time. There is a specific evolution that happens when you refuse to break under pressure that should have destroyed you. Your capacity expands, your threshold elevates, your tolerance for difficulty increases. What used to overwhelm you becomes manageable. What used to terrify you becomes familiar. What used to stop you becomes merely an obstacle you navigate around. You didn't just survive, you evolved. What you are about to step into has nothing to do with luck and everything to do with what you became when you refused to break. There is a specific type of strength that only forms under pressure, so intense that most people shatter. You didn't shatter, you transformed. And transformation under pressure is how diamonds are made. The universe doesn't waste pain. Every ounce of suffering you have endured was converted into something valuable, like a forge turning raw metal into a sword. You felt the heat. You experienced the hammering. You endured the repeated immersion in fire and ice. It felt like destruction, but it was actually construction. What looked like your life falling apart was really your weapon being formed. Swordsmiths know something most people don't understand. The quality of a blade isn't determined by how it looks when it is finished. It is determined by what happened to it in the fire, how hot the flames burned, how many times it was folded, how precisely it was hammered, how carefully it was cooled. Every strike, every immersion, every heating and cooling cycle creates the molecular structure that gives the sword its strength. Without the fire, you just have soft metal that bends under pressure. With the fire, you have a weapon that can cut through anything. Your life has been in the fire, and not some gentle, comfortable warmth. The kind of fire that burns hot enough to change molecular structure. The kind of heat that either destroys or transforms. With no middle ground, you chose transformation. Maybe you didn't feel like you were choosing it at the time. Maybe it felt more like survival than strategy. But every time you got back up, every time you chose hope over despair, every time you moved forward when staying down seemed easier, you were choosing the fire, and the fire was making you dangerous. Right now, in this very moment, there are battles being fought that require exactly the weapon your pain created. Problems exist that only someone who survived what you survived can solve. Darkness is spreading in areas that need the specific light your struggle ignited. You weren't just being prepared for opportunity, you were being armed for warfare. And the war you are about to enter isn't against people. It is against systems, mindsets, and forces that have been destroying lives while you were in the fire getting forged. If you can feel the weight of these words landing in your spirit, take a second to like this message. Sometimes we need confirmation that what we sense internally is actually real. Your breaking point had a purpose. It wasn't random suffering. It was targeted preparation. Think about what almost destroyed you, the betrayal that nearly killed your ability to trust, the loss that almost ended your hope, the rejection that threatened to silence your voice forever, the failure that could have convinced you to stop trying. Each one of these experiences was designed to develop something in you that your calling requires. The betrayal taught you discernment that will protect you when you are given access to powerful spaces. You will be able to sense when something looks right, but feels wrong, when someone says the right words, but carries the wrong spirit. This discernment isn't paranoia, it is protection. And you only have it because you survived deception deep enough to recognize its patterns. The loss taught you the temporary nature of everything, except what is built on truth. You learned not to anchor your identity to things that can be taken away. You discovered a source of stability that doesn't shift when circumstances change. This foundation will keep you grounded when success brings more than you know how to handle. You have already lost what many people fear losing, and you are still standing. That makes you dangerous to fear itself. The rejection refined your voice into something that cannot be silenced by disapproval. You kept speaking when no one was listening. You kept creating when no one was watching. You kept believing when everyone was doubting. That kind of persistence develops a voice that speaks with authority rather than seeking permission. The world doesn't need another person asking for approval. It needs people who know their message matters, whether anyone affirms it or not. The failure taught you that falling isn't fatal and mistakes aren't final. You got back up, you tried again, you learned, you adjusted, you improved. This resilience will carry you through the failures that inevitably come with attempting things that matter. Most people quit after the first fall. You have proven you are not most people. Share in the comments which part of your breaking point you now see as preparation. Sometimes naming what we have survived helps us fully step into what we are becoming. There is a specific anointing that comes from the fire. Not everyone receives it because not everyone survives the process required to obtain it. This anointing doesn't come from Bible college or seminary training, though those have their place. It doesn't come from connections or networking, though relationships matter. It comes from being broken down to nothing and rebuilt by hands that know exactly what they are creating. You know, you carry this anointing when you walk into rooms and atmospheres shift without you saying a word. When people sense something different about you but cannot quite articulate what it is. When doors open that shouldn't open based on your credentials alone. When favor finds you in places where you have no logical right to be favored. This isn't arrogance. This is the natural result of fire-tested faith manifesting in your life. The battles ahead require this kind of anointing. Surface-level faith will not sustain what you are about to face. Shallow roots will not support the weight you are about to carry. Untested character will not withstand the pressure you are about to experience. But you are not shallow. You are not untested. You are not surface level. You are deep, proven, and fire-refined. That makes you qualified for assignments that would crush someone who hasn't been through what you have been through. Listen carefully. The next season of your life isn't about recovery. It is about deployment. You are not being restored just so you can rest. You are being restored so you can run. The healing you are experiencing right now isn't an end goal. It is preparation for engagement. You are being put back together stronger than you were before you broke. Because the mission ahead demands a stronger version of you, recovery implies returning to a previous state. But you are not going back to who you were. That version of you couldn't handle what is coming. They weren't strong enough, wise enough, tested enough. The breaking dismantled that version completely. And what is being rebuilt in its place is an upgrade. Same core identity, but enhanced capacity. Same essential nature, but elevated authority. Same heart, but hardened against attacks that used to penetrate. Think about a bone that breaks and heals. Medical science tells us that the place where the bone broke becomes stronger than the original bone ever was. The body sends extra calcium to the fracture site, building density that exceeds the pre-injury state. That is what is happening to you, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. The places where you broke are becoming your strongest points. The areas where you fractured are developing density that makes you nearly unbreakable. This rebuilt version of you carries authority that the unbroken version never possessed. Authority born from survival, credibility earned through suffering, strength proven under fire. When you speak now, your words carry weight because people can sense you have been somewhere. They fear going and came back transformed rather than destroyed. That is a rare quality in a world full of untested theory and unexperienced advice. Some of you have been feeling restless lately, like you are supposed to be doing something, but you don't know what yet. That restlessness is divine dissatisfaction. It is your spirit recognizing that preparation season is ending and action season is beginning. The itch you feel isn't anxiety. It is anticipation. Something in you knows that movement is coming, even though your mind hasn't received the full download yet. Type 111. If you are feeling this restlessness, if you sense the shift even though you cannot fully explain it, if you know in your gut that your waiting season is giving way to your walking season. Now here is where it gets interesting. The very thing that almost destroyed you is about to become your greatest credential. The addiction you overcame gives you authority to help others break free. The abuse you survived gives you credibility to speak life into broken people. The poverty you escaped gives you perspective to build wealth that serves rather than enslaves. The depression you defeated gives you capacity to bring hope to the hopeless. Your mess is becoming your message, but not in some cute Instagram caption kind of way. In a real, raw, transformative way that changes lives. You are about to discover that your pain gave you a platform, not because people want to hear sad stories, but because people are desperate for proof that breakthrough is possible. Your testimony becomes evidence that what they are going through isn't fatal. Your scars become roadmaps that show others the way out. Your survival becomes permission for others to keep fighting. But here is the key. You cannot help others get free from what you are still enslaved to. You cannot lead people out of darkness you are still living in. You cannot speak with authority about victory you haven't experienced. That is why the breaking had to happen when it did. You had to go through it fully, experience the depths of it completely, and come out the other side genuinely transformed. Partial healing produces partial impact. Complete transformation produces complete authority. The people you are about to encounter aren't looking for theory. They have read the books, they have heard the sermons, they have seen the social media posts. What they need is someone who has battle scars and can prove that the battle is winnable. That is you. Your credibility doesn't come from credentials. It comes from surviving what should have killed you. There is a generation rising right now that is tired of polished presentations and perfect people. They want real, they want raw. They want proof that faith works in actual fire, not just in controlled environments. Your willingness to be vulnerable about what you have been through gives them permission to be honest about what they are going through. And that honesty is where healing begins. Leave a comment sharing one thing you learned in the fire that you want to carry into the next season. Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Now let us talk about timing. You have probably wondered why the breakthrough didn't come sooner, why you had to endure so much for so long, why the relief didn't arrive when you begged for it. Here is the truth that might sting initially, but will ultimately set you free. Earlier breakthrough would have ruined you. The version of you from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, that person wasn't ready for what is coming. They wanted it absolutely. They prayed for it desperately. But wanting something and being ready for it are two completely different things. The delay that frustrated you was actually protection, ensuring you would be ready when the door finally opened. Think about what you know now that you didn't know then. The wisdom you have gained, the patience you have developed, the discernment you have acquired, the character you have built. None of that would exist if breakthrough had come when you first wanted it. You would have received blessing without the maturity to steward it, success without the character to sustain it, influence without the wisdom to wield it responsibly. God, the universe, the divine intelligence orchestrating your life, that force knew exactly how long you needed in the fire. Not a day longer than necessary, but not a moment shorter than required. The timing of your emergence is precise. You are not early. You are not late. You are exactly on schedule. And here is what makes the timing even more perfect. The world right now needs exactly what your journey created in you. The problems that exist require the specific solutions your pain taught you to build. The people who are suffering need the exact hope your survival provides. The darkness that is spreading needs the particular light your struggle ignited. Your emergence isn't just about you finally getting your turn. It is about the world finally getting what it has been missing while you were being prepared. Consider how your struggles align with current needs. The mental health crisis needs people who have genuinely overcome depression and anxiety, not just people who have studied it academically. The addiction epidemic needs people who have actually broken free, not just people with theories about recovery. The financial inequality needs people who have experienced poverty and built wealth with integrity, not just people born into privilege. The leadership vacuum needs people whose authority comes from servant leadership developed in the valley, not just people who climbed corporate ladders. Your specific journey positions you for specific impact. What you survived wasn't random, it was strategic. The pain had a purpose beyond just teaching you lessons. It was creating in you exactly what the world needs right now. Type 777 if you are starting to see how your pain connects to your purpose. If you are beginning to understand why you had to go through what you went through. If the pieces are finally forming a picture that makes sense. Let us address something important. Some of you are hesitating to step fully into this next season because you are afraid you are not qualified enough, educated enough, connected enough, polished enough. You are looking at others who seem to have better credentials and wondering how you could possibly compete. Stop that thinking right now. It is a trap. Your qualification isn't your resume, it is your testimony. Your authority doesn't come from degrees. It comes from deliverance. Your credibility isn't about who you know. It is about what you have overcome. The world has plenty of qualified people who have never been tested. What it lacks is proven people who have been through the fire and came out transformed. When you walk into a room carrying the anointing that comes from survival, people feel it. They might not be able to articulate what is different about you, but they sense something: authority, authenticity, depth, weight. These qualities cannot be faked or manufactured. They are only developed through genuine struggle and genuine victory. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Stop measuring your beginning against someone else's middle. Stop judging your process by someone else's product. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not disqualified. You are right where you need to be, carrying exactly what you need to carry, ready for exactly what you are being called to do. The imposter syndrome you feel isn't evidence that you don't belong. It is evidence that you are stepping into something bigger than your comfort zone, which is exactly what growth requires. Everyone who has ever done anything significant felt underqualified at the beginning. The difference between those who made impact and those who didn't wasn't qualification. It was willingness to move forward despite feeling unqualified. Here is what is about to happen. You are going to start receiving opportunities that seem too big for your current capacity. Invitations to spaces that feel beyond your level. Requests to contribute in ways that stretch you past your comfort zone. Your first instinct will be to decline, to defer, to suggest someone more qualified. Resist that instinct. These opportunities aren't mistakes. They are confirmations that you are ready for what you think you are not ready for. The growth you experienced in the fire expanded your capacity beyond what you realize. You can handle more than you think. You can carry more than you believe. You can impact more than you imagine. The struggle didn't shrink you. It enlarged you. Your container got bigger. Your capacity increased. Your threshold elevated. You are ready for weight. Subscribe so you don't miss the next message. Sometimes we need these reminders consistently, not just once, to fully internalize what is true about who we are becoming. Now let us talk about what happens when you fully step into this. There will be resistance. Not everyone will celebrate your emergence. Some people preferred you broken. Some people benefited from you being stuck. Some people feel threatened by you becoming powerful. Their discomfort isn't your problem to fix. Your job is to keep walking in your calling regardless of who gets uncomfortable. Expect some relationships to change. People who were close during your struggle might distance themselves during your success. Not because you changed in negative ways, but because your growth highlights their stagnation. Your willingness to heal exposes their choice to stay wounded. Your decision to rise challenges their decision to stay comfortable. This isn't judgment, it is just reality. Not everyone can go where you are going. Release people peacefully. Don't fight to keep relationships that are naturally concluding. Some people were assigned to your life for a season, not forever. Their departure isn't rejection, it is completion. They served their purpose. You served yours. Now new relationships are coming that align with who you are becoming rather than who you were. At the same time, prepare for reconnections. People from your past who walked away during your struggle might suddenly reappear during your success. They will act like the distance never happened, like they always believed in you. Wisdom is required here. Not everyone who celebrates your arrival supported your journey. Not everyone who wants access to your success earned trust during your struggle. Discern the difference between genuine relationships and opportunistic connections. You are also going to face a new level of spiritual warfare the moment you step into purpose that threatens darkness. Darkness fights back. Attacks will come. That didn't exist during your breaking season. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are doing something right. Effective people attract opposition. Impact generates resistance. The fact that you are experiencing warfare is actually confirmation that you are on the right path. But here is what is different now. You are not the same person you were when previous attacks came. You are stronger. You are wiser. You are more equipped. The fire didn't just test you, it trained you. You know how to stand now. You know how to fight. You know how to endure. As it is written in Isaiah chapter 54, verse 17, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, not because weapons will not form, but because you have been trained to handle warfare." Type 222, if you are ready for whatever comes. If you are willing to face the resistance because you know the assignment is worth it. If you are committed to walking in purpose regardless of opposition, let me tell you something about the power you carry. It is not the kind of power that dominates or controls. It is the kind of power that liberates and transforms. Your voice now carries authority to break chains that have held people captive for generations. Your presence now shifts atmospheres from death to life. Your story now provides hope to people who are about to give up. This isn't ego, this is anointing. And anointing always serves others, never just self. You are about to walk into rooms where your words will change trajectories, where your presence will inspire courage, where your story will spark breakthrough, not because you are special in yourself, but because what you survived made you a carrier of something the room needs. You are not going to these places as a guest, looking for validation. You are going as an answer to prayers that people prayed before they knew you existed. There are people right now praying for exactly what you carry. They don't know your name yet. They haven't met you yet. But they are asking for help, for hope, for proof that transformation is possible. Your emergence is the answer to their prayers. Your willingness to share your story becomes the catalyst for their breakthrough. Your scars become their roadmap. Your victory becomes their permission to believe. This is why you couldn't stay broken. This is why healing had to come. This is why you had to get back up. It was never just about you. It was always about who you would be able to reach because of what you went through. Your personal victory creates possibility for collective transformation. Your individual healing opens doors for communal breakthrough. The impact you are about to have will surprise you. You will speak casually about something you overcame and watch someone's entire countenance shift. You will share your story in what feels like a small setting, and later discover it changed someone's life. You will show up simply being yourself and create space for others to be themselves too. This ripple effect is how kingdom works. One transformed life transforming others. But impact requires vulnerability. You cannot help people from behind walls. You cannot bring healing while hiding your scars. You cannot speak freedom while pretending you were never bound. The willingness to be honest about where you have been creates a connection with people who are where you used to be. Your transparency becomes their permission to be real. And reality is where real change happens. Now, here is the part that might challenge you. What you are stepping into will require sacrifice that comfort seekers aren't willing to make. Late nights, hard conversations, emotional labor, resources invested, time committed, convenience surrendered. This level of impact isn't a side hustle. It is a lifestyle. It demands everything because it produces everything. You will have moments when you want to quit, when the cost feels too high, when the results seem too slow, when the criticism cuts too deep. In those moments, remember why you started. Remember the prayers you prayed when you were in the fire. Remember the promises you made about what you would do if you ever got free. Remember the people who are counting on you to keep going even when you don't feel like it. This is where most people stop. Right at the edge of real impact. They survive the breaking. They experience the healing. They receive the calling. But when it comes time to actually walk it out, with all the difficulty that entails, they hesitate, they rationalize, they retreat back to comfortable mediocrity. Don't be most people. You have come too far. You have survived too much. You carry too much. The world needs you to finish what you started. Comment with one word that describes your commitment to seeing this through. Sometimes declaring our intention publicly helps us stay accountable to it. Let me paint a picture of what is on the other side of your obedience. Lives changed because you were willing to share your story. People freed because you were willing to be vulnerable. Generations impacted because you were willing to steward your pain into purpose. Cities transformed because you were willing to show up when showing up was hard. This isn't hyperbole. This is the natural result of anointed impact over time. Your breaking point was your breaking through point. What almost killed you was actually the death of who you used to be, making room for who you were always meant to become. The pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The struggle wasn't a setback, it was a setup. The fire wasn't destruction, it was refinement. And now you are ready. Ready for the rooms you are about to enter, ready for the responsibilities you are about to carry, ready for the warfare you are about to face, ready for the impact you are about to make. Not because you are perfect, but because you are proven. Not because you have it all together, but because you know how to keep going when things fall apart. The warrior has been trained, the weapon has been forged, the assignment is clear. All that remains is your willingness to walk forward into what has been prepared, to step into rooms you have never been in, to speak words you have never spoken, to take risks you have never taken, to trust at levels you have never trusted, to believe for things you have never seen. This is your moment, not someday, not eventually, not when you feel more ready, right now. Today, this moment, the delay is over. The preparation is complete. The door is open. What you do with this moment will determine what the next season of your life looks like. Choose courage over comfort. Choose impact over safety. Choose purpose over ease. Type 10 to declare that you are all in, that you are committed to walking this out regardless of cost, that you are ready to become everything your breaking point prepared you to be. You have been through the worst. You have survived the fire. You have endured the pressure. You have passed the test. Now comes the deployment. Now comes the demonstration. Now comes the manifestation of everything that was developed in you while the world wasn't watching. The warrior is ready. The weapon is sharp. The battle is waiting. And victory is certain because you have already overcome what was meant to destroy you. If you survive that, you can handle anything that comes next. This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of the chapter where everything you suffered through starts making sense, where the pain transforms into power, where the test becomes testimony, where the victim becomes victor, where the wounded becomes warrior. Your breaking point was your making point, and what you are about to step into will prove it. Walk forward. Your assignment is waiting.